is the most wonderful time of the year, and that means that you may be traveling from house to house over the holiday season. You might be feeling a little bit stressed out because you're not sure how or where your child is going to sleep, especially if you have a toddler who has a newfound freedom of sleeping in a toddler bed. Now, even if your child is still sleeping in a crib, I'm still going to give you some tips and tricks in this video, but we are going to talk all about all the things that you need to have on your toddler's packing list, specifically about sleep, potty training, and some extra bonus items that you don't want to forget. When you're traveling and maybe you are staying at a family or a friend's house, maybe you're staying at a hotel or an Airbnb, you want to make sure your child is on their best behavior. So how are we going to do that? We are going to make sure that your child is getting the appropriate amount of sleep that they need while you're away from home. So the very first thing that I am going to tell you to do is to make sure that your child already has independent sleep skills before you leave on your trip. If you're not even there yet, then you need to just pump the brakes and get your child sleeping independently. You can book a consultation. I will link in the description box down below for you to utilize my professional pediatric sleep consultant services. But your child needs to be sleeping independently through the night before you go on vacation. Okay, so what is on this packing list? First and foremost, you need to have a pack and play or a travel toddler cot. I love the Graco pack and plays. They're very cost effective and easy to set up and take down. Get whatever you want in terms of that if your child is still in a crib. Some toddlers who are in a toddler bed are still able to sleep in the pack and play when you're away from home, just because that's what you give them. If you do not think that your child will stay in a pack and play, like if they were climbing out of the crib so you had to move to a toddler bed, you probably want to skip the pack and play and go straight to a toddler cot. Now, I love the little toddler cot that is a blow-up mattress that is made by Slumber because you also need, item number 2 is a blackout situation. You need blackout curtains for your toddler's bedroom or wherever they're sleeping, whether it is travel blackout curtains, cut up black garbage bags that you use painter's tape on the windows. Yes, I've done that before. Or if you use a Slumber pod. I am a huge advocate for the Slumber pod. I love the company, I love the brand, I love everything that they stand for, and they make traveling and sleep really go together. However you black out your toddler's sleep situation, just make sure that your toddler is already used to a blackout sleep situation. Can you hear my cat snoring? He's over here. That's my cat Gruff. Yes, he is large and in charge, and we love him for it. Let's keep going. If your child has a significant attachment to a lovey, then definitely bring that with you. Do not wash it before you go because you want the lovey to have the scent, the familiar scent of being at home. And while I'm talking about the familiar scent of being at home, if your child is using any sort of sleep surface that fits a crib mattress, bring the crib mattress from home that has their scent on it already, and it will be familiar to them as they are sleeping in a different environment. If you've been following me for a long time, you know that the next thing that I'm going to tell you to do is to bring your travel white noise. Now, this can be a dome white noise machine that you just bring from home. It can be your Hatch that you bring from home. It can be a travel white noise machine. No matter what it is, you want to make sure that you have white noise, especially, like this is bold, underlined, capital, that you are going to be in a different place. There are going to be different sounds. So you want to make sure that you have white noise blocking out any of those new sounds, because we all know that when you're sleeping in a different place, especially if you're in a hotel, especially if you're near the stairway or the vending machine or the ice machine or the elevator or just loud neighbors, you want to make sure that you can drown out that noise so that you can take what you can control. Have you seen those like double bubbles where you have like the circle of what you can control and the circle of what you can't control? You cannot control what other people around you are doing, or if you're in an Airbnb or family or friend's house and they have different noises in their house, their house is going to settle differently at night than yours does. You want to make sure that what you can control is the white noise that is going to block that out. When it comes to your child's pajamas and their sleep sack, you want to make sure that you are bringing extras. So if you're planning on bringing like 1 or 2 sets of pajamas, I mean, let's be real, your kid can rewear the same ones after a couple nights. You want to make sure that you are bringing extras in case of pee accidents, poop you know, poop explosions. It's going to happen. Stuff like that will happen, so be prepared for it. You don't want to be in a situation where they had a blowout and it got all over their sleep sack and now they don't have their sleep sack and they can't sleep without their sleep sack. You don't want to be in that situation. You also want to make sure that there will be bedtime books available. So if you're going somewhere where you know that they're going to have books, your child is not particular about the books or the order in which you read them during the bedtime routine, then you're all good to go. If your child, you know, if you read the same exact story every single night, just bring it with you. It's one more thing to pack, but it really doesn't take up a lot of space. If your child is using a nightlight, then you obviously are going to want to bring that as well, but you don't have to. It may be more beneficial to not have a nightlight, because if your child's waking during the night and they remember that they're in a different place, then it might just wreak havoc on their sleep for the rest of the night. But you know your child best, so bring it if you feel like you need to. And again, it's one of those things that takes up a little bit of space, but it's going to be worth it if it's going to make your child sleep better. If you have a baby monitor that you feel is easy to travel with, then you can bring it with you. I'm sure they have travel options, but especially if you're going to be putting your child to bed and then maybe you are going downstairs to spend time with the family, you probably want to know if your child needs anything while they are sleeping and you are enjoying your travels. So it's not a must-have, but you can put it on your packing list in case you have the space and in case you have the tool to be able to bring this with you. Okay, so let's jump into the next category, everything that your child is going to need if they are potty training or recently potty trained. You always want to make sure that you are bringing a travel potty seat. All right, I just went and grabbed it for you. You can bring one of these, and they also have fold-up ones that you can bring as well. The heat just went on and it's loud, so I'm turning it off from my app. All right, let's keep going. I know everyone's going to have their opinions about this, but I love bringing flushable wipes. Even if you don't flush them, you can still utilize flushable wipes while you are away from home, especially if you're finding yourself in different bathrooms like porta potties or something and you might have a messy situation. It's going to be easier to just use wipes. You 1000% need to bring several extra pairs of underwear, and I don't want you to feel like you should revert back to pull-ups or diapers during your travels, because it's just going to put you back at square one. So if you're in the middle of potty training, do not go back to diapers, but bring some with you just in case. Speaking of just in case, you of course want to bring some plastic bags or just those wet-proof, or they just call them like wet bags, I think. I've never used those. I've always just used like plastic grocery bags, but you want to bring some plastic bags that you can put wet clothes in the event of an accident. Another thing that you want to bring, if you know that wherever you're going is not going to have a step stool, you are going to want to bring a step stool, not only for when your child is sitting on the big potty, but also when they are washing their hands. You can get a foldable step stool. The foldable ones are great because they don't take up space and they're very light. Okay, the next thing that you want to make sure that you have is hand sanitizer. So, oh my gosh, I cannot tell you how many times I have been to a porta potty where they've either run out of water or the sanitizer was gone, and porta potties are absolutely disgusting. And yeah, you definitely want to have some hand sanitizer. If you are still in the middle of potty training and you are using a reward chart, you need to bring it with you. You need to bring the stickers with you. You need to bring the prizes with you. If you are unfamiliar with my reward system and how I teach potty training and potty training rewards, I want you to grab Potty Party, the course, in the description box down below. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. You can use code Friday50 for 50% off the course. And if the offer is still valid, then you will get 50% off. And if it is not, then I'm sorry, but you missed out. Now we're on to the next category, is your general necessities. Now, these are things that I'm sure most people have probably thought of, but in case you didn't, I wanted to just share my experience as a mom of 3 and somebody who has traveled quite often with lots of kids. Make sure you have your diaper bag and make sure you have extra diapers, and make sure that you also have like an emergency diaper in your purse or whatever you are bringing, just in case you get separated from the original plan. You want to make sure that you have more snacks than you think you need. It is always better to be over-prepared than under-prepared. So bring extra snacks, extra water bottles. You want to bring refillable water bottles so that you can just like stop at a rest stop, fill up a water bottle, and go from there. Something that I always recommend is having a first aid kit. You never know what is going to happen when you are in a different place, and if there is going to be band-aids or whatever, like Neosporin, all the things that you might need, if those things will be readily available. So just do yourself a favor and just have your own first aid kit. You might as well just keep it in your car or your suitcase, like if you're flying, but you want to make sure that you have everything that your child might need in case of an injury, but also in case of getting sick. Bring a thermometer, bring the medicine, just bring things that you feel like you won't need, but if you got into that situation, you'd be happy that you had. You also want to bring a travel stroller. Now, I know that the big strollers are nice and fancy, but if you're only going away for a couple days and you can get away with one of those umbrella strollers or just something a little more compact, then I definitely recommend that you do that because it's going to take up less space, it's going to be lighter, and it's just going to be easier to have on the go as you're going from place to place, and you're probably just not going to have a ton of room. So if you have a travel stroller, then great. If not, don't worry about it. Just bring your regular stroller. Definitely don't go out and buy a travel stroller just because I said travel strollers are great, but it is always a good option to just have something a little more compact if you are not going away for a very long time and you just want something quick and easy. Bonus items. If you have a child who is listening to music or maybe they're on a device, even though that is not my absolute favorite thing, especially if you are driving, because that makes me car sick, so I don't know how your child would feel, but you want to make sure that you have headphones because especially if you have more than one kid, yes, I am speaking from experience, but you want to make sure that you have headphones for them because you don't want to have all these different sounds coming at everybody at the same time because then everybody's just going to be annoyed and it's going to suck. So bring headphones. Another bonus item that I think that would be great for your toddler as you are traveling are those wipe away books or boards, whether it is a board with just a dry erase marker if you wanted to keep it simple, or if you had those books that they could write in and draw in, then you could do that as well. Are you coming over here? Hi. I don't think he wants to say hello. Now, bringing your child's blanket from home is, of course, a great idea for when they're sleeping in a pack and play or in a different place, but you want to keep it in the car or on the airplane where it is accessible so that if they want to take a nap, they have their cozy home item. So just don't pack their blanket away in a suitcase. Let them have it as like their carry-on. Another really fun idea that I love, and I use this in I use it in my music and movement class, I use it in my potty training program, I use it all over the place, but bubbles, letting your child blow bubbles or blowing bubbles at your child can be a great way to kind of keep them engaged and awake if you need to keep them awake during a wake window and it is not their nap time or bedtime yet, but it is a great fun activity for like 99% of kids. I also love the idea of having a mini little travel backpack for your toddler so that they can carry their own things, taking it off of your back and out of your suitcase, and also giving your kid a little bit of responsibility, especially if they are in like that 2, 3, 4-year-old range. They can definitely carry a backpack. Even a 1-year-old, okay, maybe like 1.5 years old. You don't want to like be like lugging a backpack on your little tiny 12-month-old, but like 1.5 to 2 years old, you can definitely be putting a backpack on them and just putting some of those toys and favorite activities in their backpack so that they kind of have like their own little backpack. I think that will just about do it for this video. I hope that that encompasses all of the things that you need and all of the things that you didn't know you needed for your travels. I hope that you travel safely. Let me know where you're going because I love hearing about people's vacations, and keep blooming. Mwah.